I'm Steve Clemons. I direct the American Strategy Program here at the New America Foundation. I'm with my partner.
I'm Mark Schmitt. I'm a senior fellow here at the New America Foundation.
And we are here today to talk a little bit about the election results in New Hampshire last night. Mark, what are the big headlines for you?
Well, my view is this whole thing has been overanalyzed, so I sort of want to underanalyze it. I think this whole drama got created of the Obama explosion, and it was going to go all the way, and then that creates the story of the Clinton comeback. And I think we sometimes put too much narrative on something like this. What you have is you have a couple of data points, and I think we should sort of take a little of the melodrama out of it to get a little perspective. So that, for example, last night I was thinking, what if this is all on the Democratic side? What if Senator Obama had actually lost Iowa by a little bit and lost New Hampshire by a little bit? He'd be in a good position. He'd be the credible challenger moving up. But because such a big deal was made of Iowa, and you've made the point that maybe the Clinton campaign actually made too much of Iowa, it made the New Hampshire story such a huge drama.
So Americans, at least the
Yeah.
news, likes epics.
Right.
They like epic stories, but they also want epic stories that end quickly.
Right.
Now we're going to have an epic marathon, I think, at least on the Democratic side. The way I looked at it, and I had written on my blog, The Washington Note, that it seemed to me that the rumors of Hillary Clinton just giving withering talks to her senior advisory team. I was told that paint could be heard peeling off the walls in one of these talks, and rumors that she hung up phones on her advisors and stuff. That was an assessment of how they viewed Iowa, and in other words, it became sort of a larger challenge, and thus the comeback was even more significant. But I'm wondering, is there a difference about the way and the technique of voting, of ballot privacy in New Hampshire versus this kind of collective, highly public, take a couple of votes to do it approach in the Iowa caucuses?
Right. I think there's a little bit of a difference. I think the Iowa caucuses can kind of create a sense of the attraction of the cool new thing. You want to sort of be over there where the cool kids are, even if you have a basic sympathy to Senator Clinton. I think that might be part of the story. I think we're overanalyzing a lot of it. I mean, I think a lot of people had decided early. I mean, Hillary Clinton, before Iowa, Hillary Clinton was at 39% of the polls in Iowa. She ended up with 39%. So in a sense, maybe less happened in those 5 days than we think happened.
Except the polling was bad.
Except the polling was, bad polling happens. I think sometimes, if you have a choice between saying, oh, the voters, they lied to pollsters or something like that, versus the polling was just bad, I'd go with the polling. Polling's unreliable. You're always making assumptions about turnout. There's always funny effects. It doesn't need to be good. We have the elections for it. We don't need that. I want to say one other thing about New Hampshire and Senator Obama's campaign and where this goes from here, just to kind of bring it back to issues, because I think one interesting thing that happened was that in those 5 days that passed very quickly, was Senator Clinton turned it into a question about who's substantively prepared to deal with the issues we're facing in the world, and Obama moved a little bit in the direction of, this is a great moment. It's all of you, sort of talking about the process and the journey. It became a sort of self-involved thing, as opposed to talking about the issues. And I think what you see now is, okay, we're going to move forward, and both of them have to keep it on that. I mean, Hillary Clinton has to show what she really means by experienced and prepared, and when she means change, what she really means by that. And Barack Obama has to show that he's got the substance and the depth to keep up with that. I mean, experience, the value of experience is your ability to talk about these things in depth. I think he has a tremendous ability to do that.
I completely agree with you. I've been arguing that for some time.
I think, Senator Obama's, all the candidates have articles in Foreign Affairs about their approach to foreign policy. I think Senator Obama's is fabulous, and I think his speeches on that show somebody who's thought about these issues with an enormous depth. And I think on domestic policy, I mean, they've had 15 debates already, and you can't just be a flash in the pan and get through 15 debates the way he has, and all the policy speeches they've already had to do. So I think they're both very well prepared to do that in the next stage. I think there's not that much difference between them on those issues.
I guess what I do see a bit of a difference. I want to hear a lot more from Barack Obama beyond the Foreign Affairs article about how he looks at a very different future and how we would jump into that. I've been hearing a lot about Hillary's experience, but I'd like her to fill in some of those pieces as well. But when it comes to this fundamental question of what will the president do on day one, and are you prepared, or is that person prepared, I think it's very important because the world, excuse my crudeness, is going to kick the crap out of the next president of the United States. They don't know what the boundaries of American power is, what we will do to invest or not invest in certain issues. We don't look like a nation that's very able to achieve the objectives we set out for ourselves globally. And even our allies are going to test our limits, as will our foes, certainly. And in that case, you've got to have someone who can put a proactive agenda on the table in a period in which they're going to be compelled to react over and over and over again to a lot of micro pricks and tests of our resolve. So I do worry about that, and so that takes us to some degree into John McCain's win, because I've always, as you know, always had a soft spot for John McCain myself. We disagreed completely on the war. We disagreed on John Bolton. He laughed it off when we met once. But the point is that John McCain clearly is using that issue of the world is going to kick the crap out of the next president, and I'm the one best able to kind of deal with that situation better than Romney or Huckabee or others. And so it does look like, on another way to read Hillary Clinton's success and John McCain's amazing success, frankly, in New Hampshire. I mean, talk about a comeback, and basically look at this was the experience vote.
Right. I think that's probably right. I mean, I think McCain's comeback, it was interesting because McCain won with basically Republicans this time, as opposed to 2000 when he won with independents. And I was working for Bill Bradley at that time, so I continued to struggle with how does it happen that somebody's trying to decide between voting for a liberal Democrat and a conservative Republican, but it does seem to happen. I think the big story of the Republican race was, kind of what I've always thought, which is people really don't want to vote for Mitt Romney, and that didn't leave them much in New Hampshire because the constituency that Mike Huckabee appeals to just isn't there in New Hampshire, and McCain is somebody they know and trust. So now I think it goes forward with Huckabee, and who does appeal to the heart of the national Republican constituency, McCain, and potentially Giuliani coming into the race in a way, but there was some of that with McCain. Now, of course, McCain's speech, this is really just echoing what the MSNBC commentators were saying, but it was really unabashed. I mean, McCain's speech is a reminder that he is not a fresh young candidate anymore, and I'd sort of, yes, you also need that sort of freshness to be able to deal with the world, both proactively and reactively, and there's a certain point where experience begins to look like maybe not moving.
Experience looks like inertia.
Right, experience looks like inertia, and I think Senator Clinton could have a little of that also. Like, she's kind of a little bit locked into some 90s views of the world.
Well, it certainly is going to be an interesting run here as we go into Nevada and South Carolina and then on to February 5th. I guess we'll be back to give commentary from time to time. Thanks for joining us. Any further comments?
I think we'll just let the underanalyze rather than overanalyze will be our motto.
I'll overanalyze. Thanks.
Thank you.